What's going on, guys? I'm back. We've done Blast Spring groups into Katowice. My first ever Katowice. That's where I'm going to start with this video. And then we're going to start talking about ESL Pro League. My thoughts going into that, which is just, it's a crazy, crazy situation with the ESL Pro League. But we'll go into those details real soon. I'm back to bring the hype for another video. And it's not just bringing hype at events. Like I told you, more content. The new stream overlay is out. That is all running now, the animations, all the alerts, all the new graphics, and you're going to see the graphical improvement starting with this video. Okay, first, let's talk about Katowice. My first ever Katowice working the full thing as a talent. Met so many cool fans there. One interesting story that just comes to my mind was there was a lot of Ukrainian people there because obviously they've gone over to Poland. I mean, under 18-year-old Polish men, some girls and stuff I met there as well. And shout out to Simple, my boy. One time he signed some of these Codex cards, you know, like the Codex trading cards. He signed some of them for me that I was giving away to different Ukrainian people I met. I filmed a video for some Ukrainian. They put up on his Instagram as well, just sending support and messages to the community out there. But it's nice that what we do and what happens can put a smile on people's faces in this time. Plenty of Ukrainian flags around. Actually, the whole arena whenever Navi was playing was just super supportive as well. But Katowice was amazing. Now, if we go on to my GG bet predictions, you guys will remember I did very badly at the beginning. I said both Ents and Furia guaranteed, like 99%, because I'm not making you bet on anything unless you're over 18. You're betting responsibly, and you're using code BANKS. BANKS is the code. And that's for new and existing customers. But I was like, Ents, Furia, yeah, 100% going through. Neither team made it. Furia got off to an incredibly slow start. That was bad. We're hearing rumors about Drop now not being on the team as well. I don't know what the hell went on in that Furia account, but they've stayed in Europe, so hopefully they can bounce back. And then Ents. Valde's now gone, but he was there for the event. Dude, them losing Spinks has been catastrophic for this team. Some Pious still okay in there at times, but this is not a good looking Ents. Ents got bullied out. So I failed you guys if you followed my predictions. I'm so sorry. There's always a risk with this stuff. But the good news is my second predictions I did for GG Bet was correct. I said G2, heroic, playoffs, no problem. Probably going to go all the way. Maybe Navi's a chance because, you know, Navi playoff mode can be good. Didn't really work out. They did beat Outsiders, so fair enough. But both the teams I said making it all the way to the grand final did. So you could have followed my path there. And G2 won the whole thing, which I said. Now, that's kind of an easy prediction, but it was an easy bet for you guys to take if you did want to take it. But I'm pretty happy with how Katowice went. Doing all the interviews and stuff beforehand, normal group stage bit of the play and everything, fantastic. I stuck to my gym diet on there. Let's go. Oh, wait. There we go. Does that really work? Can you see it? We'll do the other one. That'd be easy, wouldn't it? We're still going. We're still trying. Still keeping us up. I've been back home, and I've been doing it as well. But Katowice was a lot of fun. I enjoyed every single moment of it. I hope it gets to work some more. Thank you, ESL, very much for hiring me and having me. It's loved and appreciated as always. So ESL Pro League for Season 17. I'm not going to be working it. It's a long event. I'm moving house soon. And obviously my dates in Europe because of the British passport. Kind of limited. But I will say, when it comes to ESL Pro League, things are changing. When it comes to the broadcast. Before, right, the broadcast was just as you expected for all the other events. They're changing things up. Some of the guys I know who were previously at Face It, now it's the ESL Face It group, have come together. They're making a huge change. So I'm really excited for the broadcast to come out and see what changes they've done because it's going to be a lot more fun, I think. And I think it's going to feel like a better event, you know, than what we see. Like it's going to be something different, something new for us all. Now, they've also changed the format. The format has changed completely. Now, what we have here is each group has 8 teams. All matches are best of 3. We love that. Absolutely love that. The top 4 teams from each group will be advancing to the playoffs. The group stage winners advance to quarterfinals. The group stage runner-ups advance to round of 12 as the high seeds. Group stage third place team goes to the 16 high seeds. And 14th, 16 low seeds. When we get to playoffs, single elimination bracket, all matches, excluding the grand final, because ESL grand finals are best of 5, are a best of 3. Now, the winner of this event will qualify to ESL Cologne and also get a world final spot for Blast. Absolutely huge. Now, what's really cool about this, though, is you'll see all these games go by, And it means when we look at the brackets, I'm going to show you on HLTV when we look at this bracket, you have the main group stage, and a team can win and go all the way to the upper final, just cruise on by in just 2 best of 3s. 3 best of 3s. I can't do the maths. 3 best of 3s. Then you have this last chance group qualifier to go through how it's all going to be going out there. 4th place decided, 6th, 7th place decided, 8th decided. This is for every group in there. So today what I'm going to give you, because you're going to get a video on each of the groups, is a look at the opening group here. Show this amazing group. And this is what we're going to be looking with. Now I told you, I'm bringing the hype non-stop. This means I'm bringing the hype on the shows, when you're live at events, on the stage, on the interviews, but also on the stream and here in the content. So in Group A, the teams we've got taking part, G2, Eternal Fire, Evil Geniuses, Cloud9, Fnatic, MIBR, IHC, and Outsiders. Now I'm going to start with some of the easier teams in this one. G2 right now, look at this amazing lineup. They just come off the back of winning Katowice. They also won the last event of 2022, the World Finals. This team is coming together. Hunter and JKS are playing better than everyone could have expected them to be playing. Hooksy, his rating hasn't really changed, but he's obviously leading in a way that the team's happy with. My thing with G2 right now is these guys believe in each other. They enjoy playing with each other. They play off each other. It doesn't just rely on Nico or Munacy to have huge amounts of impact. Their map ball is impressive. They're on a huge win streak right now. I expect them to win all of ESL Pro League. I'm pretty much sure that they will, because there's a lot of teams in ESL Pro League where new changes have come in, stand-in players are in. There's a lot of teams gearing up for the major, obviously, right? In Paris, it's going to happen later this year. But it feels like this is stand-in city for ESL Pro League, or just teams that have issues or new players coming in and changes. So it's a bit more testing ground, even though we're now into the year. So we'll have to see how it goes. There's not really too much to say on G2. Otherwise, even though Eternal Fire ended up winning in Malta, I can't see them winning against G2. At best, they'll take a map off them, but there's no way in my mind that G2 lose this game. They've been on boot camp. They qualified for the RMR. They look dominant, and like they just haven't slowed down at all. So G2 for the first team, quite an easy one, if I'm going to be honest. So I want to look at Eternal Fire. This team right now, Turkish overlords, they had a messy 2022. Woxic went out of the team. Then we saw this issue with Major going out of the team. Then Paz and Hardstyle went away from the team. Woxic, by mutual agreement, he was saying he didn't want to play the team anymore, wanted to go international. He left the team, you know. This is just not great. Then Faber gets signed as a coach. Now, if you guys don't know who Faber is, he used to be the coach for BBL Valorant team. Now, if you followed any Valorant, he was a beast coach. That was a huge signing. This is dope. And he's had a positive impact straight away. Major's now back in. They re-sign him. And then Sonvita comes in as the strategic coach for the team. Now, this team right now, Dontaras, Immor, Xfloud, Calix, Major. This is a team that has great chance to do well finally for Turkey. This gives me some kind of Space Soldier vibes. Now, yes, Dontaras is expected to do really well. Immor, he's on the AWP, but I'm still questioning his ability on the AWP. Xfloud, the young talent coming up. Now, this guy had a hand injury back when I met him at Rotterdam. He's making huge changes now to his way of playing, but he's looking like a player that can step up and do very well. Calix, tried and tested, very experienced. Major, the IGL of Turkey. He is like Turkey's IGL master. He's Turkey's Glaive, for example. Let's look at it like that. Admittedly, you know, when you've got 4 teams going all the way through, there is a small chance that they could get it done, but I'm not going to put them as one of my teams going through. I don't think they are going to make it. There is just a chance based on recent performance. And the fact they won the Malta CCT LAN, they beat BNE in the finals. It looked real good, you know. So let's see how it goes. Now we're going to look at Cloud9. Cloud9, Katowice was not good for these guys. I don't know, man. Even when I did the losers interview with Nafani when they got eliminated in 13th to 16th place, is not what you expect from a top tier team, especially one of the teams that were really good. People can talk about Inters and the Buster move, and I will get into that a little bit later. But right now, when I'm looking at Cloud9, my issue is change some players around. It's changed things within the team, but the IGL style, the way of playing is still the same. They can say they need more time. You'll give them some more time, sure. But if it doesn't look better here, we will start to worry, because the way they went out, they ended up losing to IHC. So let's go through the names they beat. They beat IHC in a best of 1. They went through in the top place for IM Katowice playing. Playing was quite easy. They also beat ENTS. But this is an Ents that we now know was not doing too well. At the time, we thought this was the roster that was sticking together. They beat Ents 2-1. Then they lose to Na'Vi 2-0. Now, Na'Vi is not the same Na'Vi as old, but obviously it's still Na'Vi. They're dominant. And Na'Vi's got the extra motivation to take down Cloud9, you know, because remember the Gambit days where Cloud9 were just losing all the time to... Cloud9 were always beating Na'Vi, and then finally it did turn around at like in some important moments. Land Na'Vi then just wins. Then they go up against IHC. Now, this is a Mongolian side with a stand-in who play on high ping, who don't have individuals you know about that much, and they win 2-0. They win on Inferno, which was always a great map for Cloud9. This was IHC's pick, but it's the main pick for IHC. And then they win on Mirage, both 16-14, but you should not be losing to IHC, you know? This is wild. So it's hard for me to say how Cloud9 are going to do at EPL. I do expect them to go through. So this is G2, Cloud9, two teams I do expect to go through. But this is one of the teams where I'm thinking, Cloud9, you might not do so well. This practice time after Katowice needs to have been hardcore. Some things definitely need to have changed. The mentality would have had to change as well. Opening game for them is against Evil Geniuses, though. And that, on paper for me, should be a very easy game for them. And that leads us on to our next team. Now we're looking at EG. Oh, EG. I know they're getting a lot of flack online, and I understand it. This whole GamerDoc thing and their manager and calling out commentators and talent, that was just a bad choice. That was not an acceptable decision. And they have players who are skilled. Vorborg trying his best. The upset is not around just the players. Like, yes, the players should be playing better. This is a top tier, or on paper, top tier team. Supposed to be a top tier team. But the problem we have is that when your management are making these dumb things as well, you're going to get hate extra side that the players don't want to have. So, for EG, I do not expect them to be going through. I expect them to lose. Maybe at best they win a game. But Eternal Fire should probably beat them. Cloud9 should definitely beat them. Like, I'm sad. I don't expect them to do well, you know? If you look at them, did they qualify? I don't think they did. 7th place decided winner qualifies for Blast TV, Paris Major, RMRs, losing team is eliminated. EG didn't qualify again. EG, as a tier 1 team in ESL, in Blast, did not make it to the Paris Major. Admittedly, I was covering a lot of the EU games, so I wasn't looking at NA too much detail. But they only beat Vendetta, Rain. They lost to a team called Euro 1916. They lost to MIBR. They beat Mythic, which is Flom's like mixed team, fun team, you know. I'm sure lots of you guys have seen that. Shout out Flom one time. I love Flom. Then they lost to Team 1, 2-0. It's not good. This is really rough for a team that is expected to do well. And that means they will not be at the mate. That we will not see them at one of the most important events for every Counter-Strike player's dreams, hopes, and everything. So, EG, I don't think you're making it either. So, 2 teams through, 2 teams out. Now we come on to our next matchups. MIBR versus Fnatic. Oh, fuck it. Ignore the next matchup. I'm touching on teams first. Teams. Sorry. No. Next, we're going to take a look at Fnatic. Now, Fnatic, they're mixed bag at the moment. Katowice, top 12. They faced off against Complexity in the end that they should have beaten on paper, but Complexity were playing really well. I gave Halzerk during that event the EC2 CW wireless mouse from Zowie. And he was supposed to just test it like players were testing the mice I was bringing in for him, because I'm now a Zowie partner. And guess what? He just wanted to keep it so much because he was owning, and he kept it, and he owned. He had the best tournament that he's ever played in Europe. He was the superstar for that team, and they did manage to have a pretty good run. That you got to give Complexity a lot of credit for that. For Fnatic, they went 9-12. They beat Outsiders. Good. Outside ended up making it to playoffs. They then lost to Vitality in a 2-1 game. The Vitality game was actually really interesting. I like that because they lost Overpass, but it was close. There was definitely a way Fnatic could win. But then they absolutely dominated Vitality on Mirage. And I started to feel like, oh God, Vitality, this is not good. But in the end, didn't work out. Went to Nuke. Vitality closed it out. But then for Fnatic on this Complexity game, and this is where I think Complexity will make it, probably in 3rd or 4th place, more likely 4th place. We're sat in a weird position because they lost to Complexity 16-8 on Inferno. Then they won on Vertigo 16-9. Vertigo is actually a good map for Complexity. They got destroyed again on Overpass, which was like their main map, the best map for Fnatic. That should not be happening. 16-3 they got destroyed. Now, admittedly, I'm just going to bring up the stats here. Bullseye went 1.54 rating. Floppy came out of 1.48, and Fang with 1.33. That's really good. That wasn't even the grim that we saw back at Blast Groups. This was the whole team pretty much pulling their weight. And Fnatic should have been better than that. Fasher himself on the exit interview. I hate doing these. Shout out to Fasher, really nice guy as well. I got to do a couple of interviews with him during Katowice. Yeah, he kind of came up and showed like, I'm in this spot right now that it was tough. Like he struggled individually, and it does happen to some teams. So I do expect Fnatic to be going through. There's a caveat. They could be a third, fourth place as well. Next team we're going to look at is MIBR. And finally, I am excited about MIBR. This Brazilian team that has been trying to bring players in. They kept losing good players to other teams within their region. And just look at this, right? For a team that had so much potential. Cello, he went. Cello was huge. This is not what we wanted to see keep happening for MIBR. Cello was such a big in-gap player. He ends up going to Imperial. Jota goes to Imperial. Two good players for MIBR were picked up and taken away from everything they were building. Now remember, when we were looking at MIBR in detail, so many events, so many opportunities, so many chances. They're in Blast, they're in ESL, and they were just never quite hitting the mark. But now, there's a revelation. Introducing Insani. Insani is a young player. I got to meet him during Katowice, and this guy is legit. Let me bring this up for you. Insani, coming from the MIBR Academy. He is 18 years old. He has experience in competitions from playing in, it was a martial art, it eludes my brain, but I think it was like judo or something like that. I was talking a bit about taekwondo. And during the events, he looked so individually good. This guy did not look like someone that was ever going to struggle on a new team or going on to tier 1. He went from the beginning of the year playing for the academy team to then jumping in with the main roster, and they have been dominating in North America. They came first in the North American closed qualifier. They qualified in third place, beating out Take Flight, Detonate. They lost to Complexity, and then they beat EG2O, and they've got themselves a spot at the RMR. Now they're coming to Pro League, more experience, more events done, and more time in Europe, which these teams love, which is what these teams want. Insani is the one I'm getting very hyped up about. There is still Exit, Turtle, BRN, and Henny. Henny, you love, absolute skilled player. Come away from just playing with his brother the whole time, but he's individually still sharp. This is an MIBR that I feel like might not make it to the playoff stage, but they have a chance. They have a chance of making it out of this group for sure. So you could put them there. That would mean that gives us our 4 teams right now. Yeah, I'm already on saying our 4 teams are there and decided. So if we're thinking G2, Cloud9, Fnatic, MIBR, and I'll come on to the next one and we'll see how this goes, because there are obviously caveats with all of this. Next team we're going to look at though is IHC. Now IHC, Mongolian side, these guys didn't even play with their main roster during Katowice. One of their teammates had a baby. He needed to have time at home. Makes perfect sense. They did better than any other team that we had seen during the years of doing Counter-Strike other than Tyloo. Tyloo was the only team in Asia making big success. They'd come over, or even Rare Atom would come over, or maybe every now and again another Asian team would come over, and they would just lose to everyone else. IHC had a good game versus Liquid, lost 2-0. Beat Cloud9. They also had a good game against FaZe. Okay, it was only on one map. They had a good game against FaZe. It was on the Inferno game, which is their main pick. But they took a fight. This is a team that plays more like a European style, but also they eliminated Pain after losing to Cloud9, the best one in the play-in. They eliminated Furia, who I said was going to make it to Katowice, no problem. Didn't make it out of the play-in. IHC is a team to get excited about. And this will be more time for them in Europe. Problem is, they did go back home in the meantime. They did then go first in their closed qualifier. It wasn't very difficult for them in their region. Like, the results they had against the other Mongolian sides, they just rolled through. 16-8 first one, 69, 2-0 on the next one. 69, 16-10. So, very comfortable, very calm. Now they've got to quickly snap back to reality and try and fight hard in EPL. Sadly, even though all the positives I can say about them, I can't consider them a team that's going to make it through the group. I do think they'll be eliminated. And obviously, I've already chosen my 4 teams, except there's still one more team to look at. And that one team is Outsiders. You can love them, you can hate them, but Outsiders is still a legitimate team that does great things, has success. They won the previous major. You can never discredit this team. Now, if you want to look at their run in Katowice, they were not playing in the play-in, right? They come off the back of playing the World Final where they lost against Liquid, lost against G2. It's acceptable to lose against G2. They could have won against Liquid, but then they were out of the World Final. And we thought that just after the major was like not acceptable. You just won the major. Then they come into Katowice. They start off by losing to Fnatic. We spoke about this earlier. And I was like, it's going to continue again now. For Outside, it's going to look real bad. Then they 2-1 Ninjas. Ninjas still with a stand-in situation as such. Like, Config is only just into the team. They didn't have that much practice. Hedrick's brand new to the team. This whole Hamp situation. Then they 2-0 OG. And they 2-1 Complexity. And Complexity obviously on a rise. But yes, they should still be doing that. And they get to playoffs. So they make top 6. But then they hit Na'Vi. Now, okay, I keep saying this. Playoff Na'Vi, yes, I'm biased towards Na'Vi, sure, okay. But I'm never biased when I do my job, right? I love Simple, one of my closest friends. I love the team. It's my team. But, like, I'm never biased with it. I just expected Outsiders to put up more of a fight against Na'Vi, considering this is a Na'Vi of MPL, and this is a Na'Vi who don't look that good on many maps right now. We saw Overpass, Inferno, Mirage. This is perfect. That's all the maps these guys love. Now, Overpass is obviously the pick of Outsiders. They lost it 16-13. Then Inferno, which is the pick of Na'Vi, which is like their main pick right now. It's where MPL told me, by the way, he doesn't like the map, but they still play well. And Simple on player form was not his god mode, but he's still good. So we didn't even see a third map. They just got 2-0'd out of it. And it was a very slow, messy game. The huge positive thing here, though, for Outsiders is Chiron. Chiron is a young talent that they brought up here. And this player, 19 years old, he's so confident. When I say so confident, this is his first event on tier 1. He comes from playing from teams that, like, we've never... Boston Crab. Like, I don't know what that team is. What is Boston Crab? Just like Elian, Supra. I remember Supra. And like, Chiron's a standout player. And when he spoke to me about going on stage, I don't care. Just play the game. He has this mentality that the Outsiders give off, like he's the perfect fit for him. And he put up good numbers. He's individually very strong, and he can do so much for Outsiders, and James can use him well. And I feel like he's a player that will just listen, learn, and go for it. The Flit Fame combo is also still positive. James continues dominating. It's like he's played even better since the major. Kicker had some drop-off moments, but this is a thing. Outsiders EPL should do well. So when I'm looking down this, right, when I'm giving you all the names and teams that I'm looking at here for Group A, I'm really thinking G2, Cloud9, Fnatic or MIBR, and Outsiders. Yeah? Now, between Fnatic, MIBR, and Outsiders, all of these teams could lose. Now, on paper, everyone would just naturally say, yes, G2, Fnatic, Cloud9, and Outsiders, right? They're your 4 teams straight away. But both Cloud9 and Outsiders have caveats. Outsiders have more faith in. So let's just say G2, 100% going through. Never 100%. I'm sorry if you bet on this. You're choosing to bet on it. Bet responsibly. Be over 18. Use code BANKS on GBet. But I'm just saying it's never 100%, right? But when we're looking at this statistically, G2 should just be rolling through. Cloud9 should be rolling through, but their performance at Katowice does not fully sell us on them rolling through. Fnatic, I'm still confident with these guys. Yeah, they lost the way they did, but this is still a team I like seeing. It's still a team I think has a lot of good structure. I feel like they have the positive points to hit on. Then Outsiders and MIBR, right? Outsiders should be going through no problem. This is the major winners. But they just sometimes lose to teams where, like, you go, what is going on with you guys? Like, are you awake to, like, they play their style, they play their way, play your own game that I hate so much. But it's like, okay. So I feel like MIBR could either upset Fnatic or Outsiders. There is a chance of that, and then they could grab the final spot. But realistically, G2, Cloud9, Fnatic should be going through. Sorry, G2, let's do this again. Cut that bit where I was saying which teams. So for Group A, G2, Outsiders, Fnatic, Cloud9. That's who I'm going for. MIBR, I feel, is a team that could come through, maybe beat Fnatic early on, maybe come through, take down an Outsiders. There is a chance for them to make it through, but it's not guaranteed. That's my thoughts. That's my preview of the event. If you've got any questions, by the way, that you think of when you're watching these videos, please mention it down below in the comments, because then I can look at this, and then for Group B, I can improve on it. I can add some more to it. I'm trying to give you guys a feel, trying to get you guys ready for Pro League, get you ready for the first group. It's going to be an exciting season. It's going to be a different season, better than we've seen before. I'm really looking forward to watching it all go down. And as always, thank you very much for GGBet sponsoring the content. Check up there. Use code BANKS on GGBet. Whether you're an existing customer or a new customer, you'll get a huge bonus. You'll get a lot added to it, so make sure you put a deposit. And just bet responsibly. Make sure you're over 18 and only bet what you're willing to lose. These things can happen. Nothing is guaranteed. And like I said, 99%, never 100%. If I say 100%, I'm so sorry. But I hope you enjoyed the video. We've got some interviews coming out soon as well. Some more videos coming out from the stream at the same time. Maybe you guys want some fantasy in there as well. Should we do some more fantasy? We'll have to check. You let me know. I'll be reading the comments as always. I'll see you on the stream. See you for the next video.